Hey guys, welcome back to another episode of the Jays Sit Down podcast. I'm your host Jaden. We are back, and today we're previewing Conference Championship Weekend in the NFL. First, we got the Eagles and the Commanders at 3 p.m. Eastern on Sunday, and then we got the Bills and the Chiefs, which everybody's been talking about. I even went on First Take on Monday briefly. They were doing a little fan event here in Atlanta, and the First Take crew was there, and we got to ask Stephen A question. I asked him, did he think the Bills could take down the Chiefs and the refs? We got at them in there too. He said he thinks they could, but he doesn't think it'll happen. And I have to, agree with him on that. But we'll get into that a little bit later when we talk about the Bills and Chiefs. But before we get started into everything, make sure you hit that subscribe button. Check us out here on Jay's Fifth Down. We're also on Apple and Spotify, Apple Podcasts, Spotify. You can follow us there, Jay's Fifth Down ! Is the name of the show. Follow us on Instagram at Jay's Fifth Down Pod, TikTok, Jay's Fifth Down Pod, Twitter, Jay's Fifth Down Pod. So make sure you check us out there on those platforms also. Now, Eagles and Commanders, a divisional matchup here in the Conference Championship, which is always fun because these are two teams that know each other very well, clearly, and every time we have something like this in the Conference Championship game where it's like two divisional opponents who play each other twice a year, they know each other's tendencies, the things they like to do offensively, defensively. They know their players and what their players' weaknesses might be, and all that makes it all the more exciting in this grand stage because this decides. This game decides between these two teams who will represent the NFC in the Super Bowl, right? And if the Commanders come away with this win, Jayden Daniels will get to be in his rookie year starting in the Super Bowl. And that's fantastic to think about for him. He's had an amazing year, 29 touchdowns, I think maybe uh, 8 picks or so in the year. Just very, very good season for him. And he's rushed for a lot of yards also. So, Jayden Daniels in his first season out of LSU, he's been nothing short of fantastic for the Washington Commanders and led them here all the way to this point, upsetting Detroit, beating Tampa Bay in the first round. And now they're here facing off against Jalen Hurts and the Eagles, who've been Super Bowl tested before. So it should be a really good matchup. I'm looking for specifically how Washington is going to attack the Eagles' coverage. They like to play a lot of zone, that big Vic Fangio style defense. So, can Jayden Daniels be patient? Right, that's going to be the key. That's going to be the key thing for him. Can he be patient there? Because with zone coverage, nothing's going to be open. Quick like that, as opposed to a man coverage, which is what he's really excelled at, passing the football against man coverage. And guys like Terry McLaurin and De'Ami Brown, Olamide Zaccheaus, you can't play man against them because they will run right by you, over you, around, whatever. You can't play man against them. So I expect the Eagles to be in a lot of different zone coverages, adding a few zone blitzes in there. Washington started right tackle Sam Cosmi, who was probably their best offensive lineman. I think he is their best offensive lineman. He's out, with the ACL injury, so he will not be playing in this matchup, and that's going to be huge for the Commanders because you got Jalen Carter on that defensive line, Josh Sweat, like Jordan Davis. Nolan Smith. That Eagles defensive line loves to get after the quarterback. They were one of the top teams in the league in sacks. So if I'm Cliff Kingsbury and if I'm the Commanders offense, I'm getting the ball out quick. Jayden Daniels got to be quick and decisive, in his quarterback reads and reading the defense. He's got to get the ball out really fast, especially with, the offensive line losing a guy like Cosmi. So I'm looking forward to that to see how the Commanders will attack there specifically. Defensively on the other side, Jalen Hurts, he's nursing a knee injury that he sustained in the last game against the Rams there, and I'm sure that that's going to affect how Philly's going to run their offense. I don't expect them to do a lot of quarterback runs with Jalen Hurts nursing that knee injury. So all indicators are pointing to him playing on Sunday. I wouldn't expect him to not play in this big of a game. This is the game to decide who goes to the Super Bowl, right? So of course he's going to play. He's going to be limited, So I expect him, not a lot of QB runs. It's probably stay in the pocket as much as he can, which is where Hurts is not as prominent as he was his third year in the league. When they went to the Super Bowl before, against the Chiefs, like he was really a great down the field passer, but hasn't been that same level since. And I expect the Commanders defensively to try to force him to be that guy. Throwing the football down the field to AJ Brown and Devontae Smith, and Dallas Goedert also. So that's going to be the key thing to look out for defensively for the Commanders. And for the Eagles, I mean, you're at this point now, Saquon Barkley in his first year as an Eagle, 2,000 yards rushing, over 2,000 yards rushing this year. And his two games against the Commanders this year, he has totaled 296 yards on the ground. They had no way to stop him. And I want to know how they're going to stop him on Sunday because Saquon he's a beast, man. So since the Eagles are not going to be able to run a lot of that quarterback run stuff, I expect a heavy dosage of Barkley, and try to get some stuff going off of play action. But I mean, I also expect the Commanders to key in on that defensively. Dan Quinn, defensive minded guy, been in these games before with Atlanta and Seattle. So as a defensive coordinator, then as head coach with the Falcons, so he's been in these situations before, knows how to scheme these things, and that's going to be an interesting chess match there with him and Nick Sirianni and the Eagles coaching staff. So and Kellen Moore. But other than that, man, I mean, it's going to shape up to be a very fun matchup. It's going to be really fun, like high electric offenses, especially against Saquon on the ground. So Eagles are going to have to use him in order for them to win. And defensively, they're going to have to try to contain Jay Daniels as much as they can because they know he's going to run outside the pocket a lot. That's going to be a huge factor in them getting a victory. And moving to the AFC side of things with the Bills and the Chiefs. Oh, by the way, I should give my pick. I pick the See, this is a tough one, man. This is a very tough one. I actually picked the Rams to beat Philadelphia last week. That was a mistake. I'm going to go with, in this matchup, an NFC Conference Championship game between the Commanders and the Eagles. My pick for Sunday's winner is going to be the Washington Commanders. I got them in the upset. I think they're going to take it. I think they're going to go to Super Bowl. I think, Phil experience comes into play here with Philadelphia. They're the more experienced team. They've obviously been in these situations, but I think offensively for the Commanders, they got a lot of weapons on the offense, and again, Jane Daniels adds that factor in being able to run with his legs, and that's going to be tough for that Philly defense to be able to handle. So. And and the Commanders always find a way to clutch up, man. In tight games, Jane Daniels always finds a way to lead his team down the field, get a win, or defense comes up with a clutch stop. I just feel like he brings that vibrant clutch energy to the team, to the franchise. And you need a guy like that, a guy that's humble, that goes to work, and he's motivating his teammates all the time. And when he's your quarterback, when he's the face of your team, that is going to spread to everybody in the locker room, everybody in the building. Everybody's going to buy into what the coaching staff and what the team is trying to do, which is win, go to Super Bowl and win. And I think that's just going to play a big role here, too much here for Washington. And I think they're going to come away with this upset victory. So you heard it here. Now for the AFC title game, Bills, the Chiefs. Said it 1,000 times. I do not think the Buffalo Bills are going to beat the Kansas City Chiefs. I know they will not. Why? Because for one, Chiefs always just, when it comes down to the postseason, man, they always just do their thing. Since their loss to Joe Burrow and the Bengals in the 2021-22 season, they've been on fire. They won the last two Super Bowls. I mean, this team, when it comes down to it, they can play good football in the postseason. Got 8 sacks against the Texans in the divisional round. Of course, you get 8 sacks in the divisional round, you're going to win. Stuff like that. They come up and they make plays when they need to. Steve Spagnuolo always finds a way to get that defense rolling in the playoffs, even if they have a tough regular season offensively. Patrick Mahomes, Travis Kelce in discussion. But on the flip side of it, they also have the refs. And I'll say this about the refereeing, and officiating. Like, I'm not going to go too deep into detail because I'll probably send me a fine too. But The officiating, for the Chiefs, I mean, it is bad, and the fact that they are able to get these calls to go their way is crazy. But that's a whole other conversation. But I did want to just address that. It's unfortunate that the Texans had to deal with that, and all these other teams that the Chiefs have played this year. Unfortunately, because it had some of those calls had big implications on as far as who won the game. And it's unfortunate, that has to happen. But when you have a team like the Chiefs, who the NFL favors and who's going to generate revenue, money, which is what it's about at the end of the day, other than football, that's the name of the game. That's just the truth. And anybody who says otherwise, I don't, come on, that's not the case. Like this is what it is. But that's not to undermine the fact that the Chiefs are very talented. Patrick Mahomes is out of this world. And they are one of the best assembled football programs in the National Football League, which is why they're here in these situations every single year. So that's just something to think about. But yeah, I got the Chiefs winning this matchup here against the Bills. It'll probably be a good game, but ultimate in the Kansas City's going to win. We all know this. Everybody in America knows it. Now we're all rooting against it. Most of us, at least, majority of Americans. Yeah, we're rooting for the Bills to win, just so we can have a different team representing AFC in the Super Bowl. But it's not going to be the case. So, yeah. Chiefs are going to win this matchup here in the AFC title game. But if you guys think differently, let me know in the comment section, please. If you do think the Bills can win, tell me why you think they're going to win. I just want to see what you guys think. But I think most of you guys are going to say that the Chiefs are going to win, which you're probably right. But that's going to really wrap us up for today's show, guys, on Jays with Now. We appreciate you joining us here and tuning in, listening, watching, however you're doing it. Make sure you can follow us on socials, Jays with Now Pod on Instagram, Twitter, TikTok. Make sure you check us out there, and we will see you next time on the show.